So yeah, hi everyone, my name is Prabhu and this is my chassis. So have a look around it and I'll explain you how I made my chassis. So this is the first part which I extruded out of my chassis, the switch part, in order to place the switch. Initially I made it small, then I had to make it bigger. So on the next part which I had to change compared to my initial design was the ball caster one, which for me unfortunately did not fit in. So I made a big rectangular one in order to make it fit. And then the next part which I extruded on my chassis was this square like thing on the top in order to place my Romeo. It's around 2 mm. And then I did not have any problems with the motors. They both fit in perfectly and they did not clash with each other. So yeah, this is my chassis and that is the wiring part and that is a switch and that is to place the Romeo, and this is to place the ball caster. There are two holes already, the ball caster, and then yeah, this is my chassis. So this is my base. I'm gonna extract it into an STL file and then print it. And then let's have a look at my top. So I'm gonna do the same with this also and then export it into STL. So this is my chassis. Let's get into Prusa and export it into a G code. So this is Prusa and in this I'm making sure everything is filled in correctly and then I'm gonna export the G code. It's exported successfully. And then this is my base. I'm making sure everything is in correct order and then I'm going to export its G code. After you click the export option, you can see that it even shows the amount of time it will take to print the chassis. So this one is 3 hours. So let's start printing. So before printing, make sure the PLA is correctly, because some people don't cut it off properly, and then I cut it out. Then afterwards you have to preheat the PLA before loading it inside, and then I'm waiting until it preheats, you have to wait until this message appears. This message appeared and I press the knob and then I start loading the filament. So I'm loading it slowly as the machine sucks it inside. So as it's absorbing, I'm waiting it patiently. So it absorbs and let's see if it's extruding the right color which we want. So yeah, it sometimes, yeah, now it's extruding. So it's extruding the same color as the PLA and I've clicked yes, and then now I'm going to load the SD card into the machine in order to select my chassis files so that they print it. So let's go into the printing process. And then now, yeah, this is my base. It takes a hell lot of time. Just started 4 hours. And the one on the right, that is my top, so that is comparatively less time. And yeah, it's almost like 60% over. And let's look at how my base is still going on. It'll take a lot of time for this one. Just started out the first layer. So yeah, my top is almost 90% over now. So it's getting ready almost, I guess, around 20 minutes left. Yeah, 27 minutes left for my top. And then yeah, it's ready. So let's remove it carefully and gently. Make sure we don't break the board, and also the chassis doesn't break off. Have to remove gently and softly, making sure, especially carefully, sure nothing falls off or breaks. So yeah, I've taken it out carefully without making any errors. So my top has a quite disturbance, but still it's okay. And now my base is also getting ready. So yeah, now let's get down to the assembly part. So I'm cutting off the wire which we're going to use for soldering, which is very important. So we're going to connect this wire to the fuse holder and the battery holder, and then from the fuse holder to the switch, like when we turn off or turn on. And now before soldering, make sure the iron rod is cleaned properly, because if it's not cleaned properly, then it will affect our soldering. So I cleaned it properly, and make sure to wear safety goggles like me in order to not take any risks. So I'm soldering the thin steel wire, and it's this was a tricky process for me. It was very it requires a lot of patience and skill, and I'm completely new to this. This was a challenging part for me, soldering the fuse holder to the switch. And yeah, you can see the globule like thing. So yeah, that is the soldered iron, and now we are soldering the steel and like placing it on the switch. This takes a lot of patience and time, and now make sure we have to do it carefully. You can see the fuse holder is very good, well soldered. Now to the drilling part. This is my top, and I'm only drilling for the top to place the Romeo, and I'm placing I placed only around like 2 or 3 holes in order to place my Romeo, not much, because it requires only 2 holes to like be balanced, and that's it for the drilling part. The drilling part was very easy compared to the others. And now we are gluing the fuse holder backside of the top in order to make sure it's hard. I'm applying even more glue so that doesn't fall off, and I'm using a blow dryer at low heat. Do not use it at medium heat or high heat. Use it at low heat in order to quicken the drying process. Then after all that, I'm attaching the Romeo on the top, so it's all fit, and then I'm attaching the battery to the battery holder. I even stick the battery holder the same way I did it with the motors and the fuse holder. And now I'm sticking the large breadboard on the chassis, so I'm making sure it's sticking properly and it doesn't fall off. So far it's good. Yeah, I'm making sure, yeah, rubbly. And then next I'm sticking the mini breadboard. This is quite a tricky one because it's very small and I have to insert my fingers into the chassis and place it in front of the motors, placing it properly. Yeah, making sure it stick well. Yeah, it's sticking. Yeah, it's done. So next we are attaching the wires to the terminals of the Romeo in order to make it get well connected to the Romeo, because the Romeo is the one which is gonna run the motors, control their speeds and all that, because the Romeo is as we all know, it is the MCU. So yeah, doing the wiring process was very tricky because my holes were very small. I should have made them even more bigger, but since I had a very small hole, it was very tricky for me and hard in order to wire them all to the terminal. And yeah, make sure the wiring is very well properly done, and that's it. It's almost over. Now let's have a look at my chassis before I go into the programming part. So this is my chassis. Have a look around it. Switch, it's working properly. And then the Romeo, as you can see, I've only placed 3 holes, as you all know, and I've screwed them all down. It's fitted perfectly, no trouble with that. And you can see the wiring, quite complicated but still messy, but still it's somehow I made it well, but I should have made it even more bigger so it would have been easier. And then you can have a look at the mini breadboard over there and the large breadboard at the back of the tires, and then the ball caster which fitted in perfectly with the screw. Don't have a fault with that one, and the motors which have glued them down. And then I've used duct tape in order to increase the durability of the chassis so it doesn't fall down. I just used it for the durability, and the mini breadboard over there. So yeah, that's it. And that is a USB port B from where we are gonna connect the laptop to the Romeo in order to program it. So yeah, and you can see the wiring process from how like the wires from the motor go into the Romeo through that hole over there on the top. Quite complicated. And then have a look at the soldering of the switch to the fuse holder, and the fuse holder over there in the middle, the battery holder, and the soldering on the battery holder. So this is my chassis. It's over. Now the assembly part is over. Now let's get into the programming part. First I'm connecting the wire into the Romeo. As you can see that LED light on the side, and then I'm opening the Arduino app. I'm typing it in, and then as you all can see, I've already typed the code in. The code is on the right side. I've kept a photo of the code which I used for my motor. And then now first we're gonna verify the code, and after the verification of the code we are gonna click upload, and then we're gonna click the serial monitor icon. And after all this gets over, this message inbox comes in, and in that we're gonna type Z in order to check if the code is working. So it showed hello, so the code is working, no problem with that. Now let's type W and see if it's gonna move forward. So I click in W and the wheels move forward, both the wheels, so no problem with that. It's working perfectly fine. Now another test, I'm checking it if it goes backward properly. I click in S, and then yeah, it's going in properly, no trouble with that. Now let's see if it goes if it goes for a meter in a straight line. So I'm placing it, and yeah, it's going straightly, not any problem with that. Now so it's going almost over, kinda turns it, but still straight only. So yeah, it's going straight, so it's a success. So yeah, thank you all, and this is my chassis. I hope you all liked it. So the toughest task which I had I felt like which were tough were the soldering part and then the gluing part. The wiring was also complicated because my hole was very small. Then the easiest task which I felt were the programming and the drilling, and then the printing of the chassis, which just required patience. So yeah, I felt like I should have drilled the motor instead of gluing it and made a bigger hole for the wiring. That's it, guys. Thank you all.